Journal Record editor Ted Streuli joins us to discuss other stories making news in business this week. Ted, thanks for joining us today.
My pleasure.
Now, these may be tough times in the oil patch, but earnings for Sandridge Energy are up. Tell us about that.
Yeah, this is a classic case of mixed results on their quarterlies. Their revenue was down 20%, somewhere in the ballpark of $100 million. But their earnings were up pretty substantially, somewhere around 36%. So shareholders are pretty happy about the earnings, maybe a little concerned about the revenue.
Now, Oklahoma City-based Sonic Corporation is also reporting earnings growth.
Right, and all their news was pretty positive. Their earnings for the quarter on an adjusted net basis were at about $10.1 million. That's up from about $8.1 million from a year ago. So substantial growth there for shareholders as well.
Now, a battery plant in Grove is coming back to life. What's the story there?
Yeah, this is a battery plant that was opened by another company back in 2008, and they operated it until 2012. At their peak, they employed about 100 people, but demand wasn't good enough to keep them going. So another owner has come in. He says they'll hire 40 people right off the bat, but they've told the state's quality job programs that they expect to ultimately employ almost 425 people there.
The Norman Chamber of Commerce has come out in support of a water rate increase. What's their reasoning there?
Well, yeah, and that was a unanimous deal. The residents of Norman need to vote on a $3.7 million rate increase altogether, but they're going to have to do that to make some changes to their system in order to come in compliance with standards set by the Department of Environmental Quality. Otherwise, the city is going to face some very steep fines. So rate increase is hard to swallow, but it's getting support nonetheless.
Mm-hmm. Now, some questions have arisen over leases at Oklahoma City's First National Center. What's going on?
Yeah, the First National Center has really been a beleaguered property for some years now, having ownership and tenant problems. The building itself has some problems. The current owner let all of the office tenants know that they're not having their leases renewed. The retail tenants on the ground floor, however, are getting short-term renewals. That would allow a new owner to not be locked into any particular tenants.
Well, what stories are you working on for next week?
Well, we have a commercial property developer in California who is from Oklahoma. He's done a lot of work here that you would recognize. He has built a vacation home out in Chickasay and was astonished to find a natural gas plant going up right next door without any notice to him. It's an interesting dilemma out there.
That sounds interesting. All right, thanks, Ted. We'll be looking forward to that.
Thanks for having me.